What is up? Think I'm ready. What's up, everyone? How you doing? Welcome in, Laughly. Good to see you on the Twitch side. Okay, let me make sure I've got everything ready. I think I've got my articles over there. I've got my viewers over here. All 8 of you. Uh, yeah, got that. I can pull this up here. Sup, Ray, on YouTube. Ray, Ray, you're constantly coming on YouTube and talking about operating systems. Are you going through some are you going through some issues with your operating systems, bro? I don't know. macOS is okay at best. That's my personal opinion. What's up, Tiki Tac? Good to see you. What's up, Demetra on YouTube? Finally caught my stream. Yeah, I know you said you missed the other one. I think you left a comment. I appreciate it, man. What's up, Prosium on X? Good to see you. Pros. I'm going to have Pros on tomorrow. I'm going to put out an announcement after this stream. Pros, who I pulled up his X post about the Halo stuff 2 days ago, and he has agreed to come on and do an interview with me tomorrow around this time, approximately this time. And let me tell you, he's told me a bit of his background. You're all about to get educated, all right? You're all about to get educated, so tune in for that tomorrow. I'll say it again at the end of the stream when there's more than 10 viewers here. Hey, Elko. I went to YouTube just to drop a like. I prefer to harass your chat here, though. I mean, yeah. I believe it, yeah. Ray says he just has Asperger's syndrome. Yeah, I mean, Ray, I get it. I get it. Don't we all? Don't we all? Elko says you're not the first one to threaten me with an education. Good luck making it stick. Yeah, that's true. You're gonna eat well, yeah, Demeter. Yeah, you should definitely tune in tomorrow with that interview with Prosium. I'm not gonna give anything away, but oh damn, man, I didn't know. I had no idea. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. And then I had to move an interview that I had planned for today. I had to move it to Sunday because of family stuff. So Sunday I'm gonna have another interview about like 9-ish, 10-ish hours earlier than whatever time it is now for you. I'll post that as well tomorrow with a time, and I'll be talking to someone within the Rust community who wants to have a relatively friendly chat on Rust, but allow me to push back. So we'll see how that plays out. What's up, Ross? Good to see you. All right. All right. Shall we get started? Let me go here, folks. I've got my coffee. Got my coffee, my traditional coffee. As in per tradition for these streams. Let's get going. Let's dig in. Let's dig in. I've got some good stuff today. And I got one for you too, Ross. Hopefully you're able to hopefully you're able to stick around. If not, I'll move yours up front. It's up to you, Ross. Do you want me to move yours up front? You're tired? Do you want me to, Ross? Ross, you're a solid viewer. You get to choose. Do you want me to move yours first so you can get to bed? I'll do it just for you, Ross. No pressure, says Prosium on X. Ross, it's all on you, man. Do your schedule. Are you sure? Okay, all right. Because I did kind of have like a thing, but like, you're a bro, man. You're all right. Okay, Ross says he's sure he's gonna let me do my thing. I appreciate it, man. If you can't stick around for it, it's like three or four, I guess four-ish articles in. I catch the live. All right. Will we get our daily dose of data leaks? Oh, Demetra on YouTube, are you gonna get your daily dose of data leaks? Oh, bro, jeez. It's like it's par for the course, man. That's par for the course. Not only are you gonna get your daily dose of data leaks, but oops, no, that's not the right screen. Professional streamer over here. This isn't the right screen. Here you go, Demetra on YouTube. Let's go right off the bat for Demetra on YouTube. I've got you, brother. All right. Now, this is a South Korea telecom company, right? Called SK Telecom. They say a malware breach lasted 3 years, impacting 27 million numbers. Shit. I can't do it. I'm just not going to do it again. South Korea Telecom, or SK Telecom, says that a recently disclosed cybersecurity incident in April first occurred all the way back in 2022, ultimately exposing the USIM data of 27 million subscribers. SK Telecom is the largest mobile network operator in South Korea, holding roughly half of the national market. On April 19, 2025, the company detected malware on its networks and responded by isolating the equipment suspected of being hacked. That's right. It went from 2022 to April 2025, and then they're like, whoopsies. This breach allowed attackers to steal data that included IMSI, USIM authentication keys, network usage data, and SMS contacts stored in the SIM. You know, just everything. It's just everything. Just allowed you to connect. It's just everything. No, Dimitri, get rid of 1Password. That's a bad idea. Yeah, Gear Games. That's right. Good to see you, Gear Games. Just kick the can down the road. You got your stuff out. Somebody else will take care of the issues. This exposure increased the risk of SIM swapping attacks, so the company decided to issue SIM replacements for all subscribers. That's a good thing, while strengthening security measures to prevent unauthorized number porting actions. Okay, that's a good thing. On May 8, 2025, a government committee investigating the incident declared that the malware infection compromised 25 data types. At the time, SK Telecom announced it would stop accepting new subscribers as it struggled to manage the fallout. An update SK Telecom published yesterday informs that they will soon notify 26.95 million subscribers that they are impacted by the malware infection, which exposed their sensitive data. The telecom firm confirms that it identified 25 distinct malware types in 23 compromised servers. Bros, they didn't just get hacked with one malware. In some cases, they got completely demolished with two, but it was at bare minimum one per server. One distinct malware type per server. Simultaneously, a joint public-private investigation team examining SK Telecom's 30,000 Linux servers says the initial web shell infection was on June 15th, 2022. Almost a 3-year anniversary. So the attackers introduced several payloads across 23 servers. 15 of the 23 infected servers contained personal customer information, including IMEI numbers. Now, if you don't know what these like IMEI, IMSI, USIM, all of that stuff, there are at bare minimum 2 distinct numbers that you get at a hardware level. The IMEI typically distinguishes your particular phone. So literally the exact phone. It's got a unique number that you can target very specific phones like that. The ISIM, I believe, is a unique number to your SIM, which is to your SIM card, which is the card number. I believe it's either ISIM or USIM or something like that. If you have either one of those or, both of those, then you have a lot of information that you need to target individuals' specific hardware, including their SIM card. And that you can do that beyond the scope of a phone number, because the phone number is a rolling number, but the SIM number, the actual hardware-based SIM number, is very specific. So it opens the door to a lot of different kinds of, second, third, fourth order effect issues that come from that, right? So there you go. Okay, breach news. Demeter on YouTube asked for it. Ask and ye shall receive. Now, just in case you're like, Spiro, I don't think I got enough of the telecom hacks. Please, Spiro, please, I beg of you, can I get more telecommunication hacks? Please, Spiro, I beg of you. I need more. I feel like that wasn't enough to have half of South Korea have their information, personally identifiable and other types of information, get out there. Please, I need more. Don't worry, bro. I got you. Mobile carrier Cellcom confirmed cyber attack behind extended outages. Wisconsin wireless provider Cellcom has confirmed that a cyber attack is responsible for the widespread service outage and disruptions that began in the evening of May 14, 2025. The incident disrupted voice and SMS services for customers across Wisconsin and Upper Michigan, leaving subscribers unable to make phone calls or send text messages. Now imagine that you're in Wisconsin or Upper Michigan and you have a 911 emergency and you can't use 911. I don't know if that actually works in this context, because 911 generally uses a different kind of connection. So maybe 911 would still work even if this went down, but still. Right? You can think of some circumstances where you couldn't really put a number to justify a cost to this, right? Today, after days of just calling it a technical outage, Cellcom CEO, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, so I'm just not going to try, has confirmed what was already suspected, that the company suffered a cyber attack. We experienced a cyber incident. While this is unfortunate, it's not something we were unprepared for. So they were prepared for it? We have protocols and plans in place for exactly this kind of situation. From the start, we follow those plans, including engaging outside cybersec experts, notifying the FBI and Wisconsin officials, and working around the clock to bring systems safely back online. The incident was concentrated on an area of our network separate from where we store sensitive information related to you, our Cellcom and site family. We have no evidence that personal information related to you, your name, your addresses, your financial information is impacted. Now, there you go. 911 emergency services remained operational. iMessage, RCS, etc. Okay, so at most, this was probably just a nuisance. You couldn't actually make a call. Who actually calls people these days anymore? That's gross and disgusting. If you actually call people and talk to them via voice, you're gross and disgusting. Just text. Email, or even email is preferable to that. Who talks with voice? Unless you're a streamer, right? But that's one directional, so you're a bit less disgusting. But if you're doing it back and forth with voice, you're just gross. What the hell? So, who really cares about this, right? Now, the good news here is that they did have, it sounds like they had a way to segregate the data, the personally identifiable information, and they had a way to segregate it from other servers that had other types of information. That's good. Maybe that helped them here. I don't know. It's hard to tell. I'm going to keep an eye on this as much as I can. Maybe the information that comes out of it will tell us what happened and how it happened. Because the fact of the matter is, even if they did segregate their data, which is good if they did that, they still got hacked. So what the heck happened here? So there you go. Now, are we sick and tired of leaks? Are we done? Are we done with leaks yet, or do we want more leaks? Who wants more data leaks? Particularly it's kind of related to telecom. It's not quite, but yes, but not quite. You want more? I think you want more. I don't think you've had enough. And of course, I'm here to dump leaks all over you. So here we go. DDoS Secrets publishes 410 gigabytes of heap dumps hacked from Telemessage's archive server. Do I not deliver? Do I not deliver the goods? Let me do this here. This morning, Distributed Denial of Secrets published 410 gigabytes of data hacked from Telemessage, the Israeli firm that makes modified versions of Signal, WhatsApp, Telegram, and WeChat that centrally archives messages. Because the data is sensitive and full of personally identifiable information, DDoS Secrets is only sharing it with journalists and researchers. There's a lot of background, so here's a quick timeline of events with relative links. In March, I'm sure you guys have heard of this, and I was waiting for a lot of this to cook. That's why I don't cover a lot of things. I want to give them time to cook. The National Security Advisor Mike Waltz invited a journalist into a Signal group where they planned war crimes. This led to congressional hearings about Trump officials using Signal groups to discuss classified information. I am not equipped, nor is it within the scope of my streams to talk about whether this is true or not. As far as I know, there's a lot of debate about this. I don't know anything about that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking purely about the technical aspect of this, okay? On May 1st, Waltz, the day he was demoted from position of National Security Advisor, was photographed using TMSGNL, a modified version of Signal made by Telemessage. He had texts up with Tulsi Gabbard, JD Vance, and Marco Rubio. On May 3rd, I published the source code of the TMCGNL to GitHub. On May 4th, Telemessage got hacked, which I reported in 404 Media with Joseph Cox. On May 5th, Telemessage got hacked again by someone else, as NBC News reported. On May 6th, I published analysis of the TMSG Signal source code, along with some of the hacked data, that proved that Telemessage lied about its product supporting end-to-end encryption. On May 18th, I published details about the Telemessage server's vulnerability in Wired. So if anyone on the internet loaded the URL archive.telemessage.com/management/head dump, they would download a Java heap dump from Telemessage's archive server containing plain text chat logs, among other things. Now, DDoS Secrets has published 410 gigabytes of these Telemessage heap dumps. Here's the DDoS Secrets description of the release. So they talk about this, yada, yada, yada. It includes plain text messages, while other portions only include metadata, including sender and recipient information, timestamps, and group names. They have extracted text from the original heap dump. Something, no matter how you look at this, it doesn't forget about, whatever, Waltz. Oh, Waltz is dumb, forget about all that. Something happened at a technical level here that it seems like this group, Telemessage and Signal and whatever these two things did together, they just can't stop getting hacked. They're basically our version of the UK right now as a whole. Because if you've been watching my streams for a while, you know that UK is getting hammered with all kinds of security issues, cybersecurity issues right now. So something's going on here, and it seems to only actually be getting worse. It doesn't actually seem to be getting better. So I'm going to continue to keep an eye on this and see what the heck is going to continue to happen, because I'm pretty sure this isn't the end of it. However, it's mind-boggling to me that you could load a URL like this and get a heap dump. If you're a programmer who's watching me right now, you know exactly what a heap dump is. It's basically a snapshot in time of a particular running operation or software, and then you can dig into that and extract all kinds of content, so long as the heap dump contains the information in the correct structures. This isn't good. This isn't a good thing. Anyways, let's move on. Let's go to the next one. Now, not all hacks are created equally. For example, some hacks are as simple as having a University of Technology getting hacked by the hackers utilizing reused passwords to infiltrate the systems. Sometimes that's all it takes. It's just reused passwords. I can't really zoom in anymore. It won't, it'll overflow, so I apologize. The hackers who were caught carrying out a cyber attack on Eindhoven University of Technology in January had been accessing the computer network undetected for days. To break into the university's IT environment, they used passwords from hacked accounts that were reused. On Saturday night, January 11th, 2025, the university security experts noticed a cyber attack on their IT systems. So they took everything offline. Education came to a standstill for a week. They brought the network back online. Classes came back. No data had been stolen, apparently. No ransom was paid. But the impact was large. And what they found was that the hackers used VPN accounts to gain access to the IT environment. It was known that the accounts were compromised. The university asked the account holders to change their passwords, but instead, they reused their old passwords. I mean, on the one hand, you have your IT expert saying you need to change your password, and these people who work in academic fields go, you know what I think I should do? I think I should reuse my old password. On the other hand, you have no software checks to be like, hey, I won't accept your new password because it's the same as your old password. I Okay, sure. I don't think I need to go into any more details. I think that pretty much covers this one. That's just you don't have to be a master coder, to get into some systems, right? Let's pull up the next one here. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, Spiro, please, I beg of you. I've had enough of the telecom hacks. Okay, please, no more telecom hacks. Please, no more telecom hacks. All right, okay. Okay, I'm going to take a break on the telecom hacks. Please, no more breaches. Please, just no more breaches. I'm done with the breaches. Too bad. Too bad you're getting more. Over 50% of the top oil and gas companies suffered data breaches in the past 30 days. This was May 20th. Cheers. A new report reveals that only 10% of top oil and gas firms passed a basic cybersecurity assessment. The rest failed. According to the Cyber News Business Digital Index analysis, 69% of the top oil and gas companies worldwide received a cybersecurity score of D or F, indicating widespread weaknesses. Additionally, over 50% of these companies experienced at least one data breach in the past 30 days. Nearly 7 in 10 oil and gas companies scored D or below. 391 of the 400 world's largest oil and gas companies were evaluated. So they used only publicly available information. They used custom scans, a bit of IoT stuff, domain IP reputation stuff. There was a mixture of things here they did. And 35% of those 391 companies analyzed received an F, the lowest possible rating. 34% scored a D. Only 10% received an A. And here's the chart for you. Average security score, 72 out of 100. But it's the number of people who stayed at the bottom. You have over half of the 400 top oil and gas companies who were D or below. And 72 is the bottom level of D. 94% experienced data breaches. 91% experienced SSL or TLS configuration issues. 80% had their corporate credentials stolen. 74% had poor system hosting practices. 50% were affected by recent data breaches. 48% had email security weaknesses. 32% had general software patching gaps. And 20% had critical unpatched vulnerabilities. And this is the spectrum of F, D, and CBA basically might as well be non-existent. It gives you, doesn't that give you the warm and fuzzies? The warm and fuzzies. So then they continue because it's not over. And they dig into the finer details of some of these statistics. 20% are exposed to critical unpatched flaws. 20% out of 400-ish. Because I don't think it was exactly 400. That is a huge portion of them. That's way too much. It shouldn't be that high, that have a critical unpatched flaw. Email security is still a weakness affecting 48% of organizations, which means that spoofing and phishing and all of that are on the table. And 74% of companies point to, hang on, what's this? And now we're starting to kind of touch on the title of this stream. What's this? 74% of companies point to insecure configurations in the servers or cloud environments that support core business functions. SSL and TLS were identified in 91% of organizations, indicating widespread failures in properly encrypting data submissions. The data also reveals that corporate credentials have been stolen from over 80% of companies, and 38% of domains are vulnerable to email spoofing. 94% of them have had data breaches. 68% of Asia companies reuse breached passwords. So now we jump into a kind of a different topic here. Geographically, security performance varied widely. Asia-based companies had the lowest average score at 65, so they were even worse than the top 400 oil and gas companies. Europe and North America followed closely with average scores of 74. Asia consistently showed the highest level of vulnerability access across most key risk areas. For example, 59% of Asian domains were vulnerable to email spoofing, compared to 35% in North America and 27% in Europe. The number 68% password reuse in Asia. At least it's kind of low in Europe and North America. So Asia's not without its own issues as well. So there you go. It's kind of some damning evidence about what's going on here. And you would think that one of the things that we should have nailed down in 2025, after what is supposedly the last 10 or 20 years of absolutely incredible leaps and bounds in hardware and programming paradigms, is that we should be able to properly configure an SSL or TLS certificate or properly secure our buckets. However, we can't seem to do that. Now, let's get into some health stuff. I know what you're thinking. Please, dear Lord, no more. I beg of you. Stop it. Not health too. And yet, too bad. Too bad. U.S. mental health clinic hack exposes tens of thousands. Hackers breached the community counseling of Bristol County, CCBC, last year, taking sensitive health information from an organization dealing primarily with mental health and substance abuse patients. Few data points are more private than details concerning your mental health. However, patients of CCBC, a Massachusetts-based behavioral health center that provides mental health and substance use disorder treatment, prevention, and recovery services, had their details stolen. According to a breach notification letter, attackers breached the clinic in late May 2024. Intruders roamed CCBC system for 2 days, where certain files containing protected health information and or personally identifiable information were stored. Worryingly, impacted individuals were notified about the breach only a year after the attack. It's really difficult for me to zoom in without overflow, but here it is. It's only a year after the attack were they notified. Whoever accessed CBCC's details had ample time to utilize it for their purposes. Nearly 46,000 people were impacted by the attack. Exposing PII information leads to all kinds of things, including insurance fraud. By the way, Travis on Twitch, thank you for dropping that sub. Coming in for a drop in real quick and then going back to lurking. Thank you, man. Thanks for the support. You're awesome, Travis. If you're not watching Travis, VROMAN, Travis Vroman, both on YouTube and Twitch. If you want to watch somebody who knows how to program and you want to learn real programming from a real programmer who actually cares about what he's doing and does not lean on crutches and abstractions and frameworks and paradigms and all of that, and you want to see someone go through real programming, you go watch this guy. Thank you for doing that shout out, whoever did that. Probably one of my mods on the Twitch side. I appreciate it. Absolutely go watch that guy. CBCC said it will provide individuals impacted by the data breach with complimentary identity protection and credit monitoring service, par for the course. The clinic operates 6 locations in southern Massachusetts. I did try and look this up, and I could not find any further information about the kinds of details that were leaked or taken as a result of this hack. So I don't know, but there you go, Ross. Okay, that's just for Ross. Okay, more health leaks. After 55 episodes, you'd think you get used to it, but no, you don't. You don't get used to it. It's daily. This happens like daily. Now, I do have some good news. I know what you're thinking. You're like, okay, well, can we get a break now? Please, Spiro. The mighty researcher of all this information who makes very good logical arguments based on pure logic, insurmountable, non-refutable statements backed up by scientific studies and statistics and news articles that we cover on the daily. Please, I beg of you, a break. Mercy. It's mercy you ask for, huh? Well, you can't say I'm not benevolent. How 3D printing is personalizing healthcare. Prosthetics are becoming increasingly affordable and accessible thanks to 3D printers. So here you go. For all the haters who are like, oh, you're not positive enough, Spiro. Some positive news, come on. Okay, here, some positive news for you. This is kind of cool. I have a 3D printer behind me. I don't know if you can tell. So I think 3D printing is really cool. And I think this is a cool usage of 3D printing. You can create prosthetic, appendages of whatever you need to make, or additions, etc. And it makes things cheaper and helps people out with their daily lives. I think this is very cool. There are advancements being made, particularly with affordability and accessibility, which is why I bring this one up. Because I could bring up other 3D printing, let's say, improvements that kind of push the barriers of what you can do with 3D printing, which is cool in and of itself from like a technical perspective. But the problem is that even if you get to that point, the issue would be, how do you mass produce it? How do you get it in the hands of the people who need it? How do you make it affordable? Things like that. And that's more what this article highlights, is that these things are becoming more affordable, and they are starting to become far more beneficial than they ever have before, while at the same time they're moving forward. So whether it's implants, like it says here, implants for surgical planning, for drug manufacturing, whatever, the technology helps in a number of different ways. And I think this is good. This is a good thing. So if you want to go check out this article, it's from Ars Technica. and I would encourage you to look at it. For example, they have the world's first 3D bioprinted liver tissue, but this is from 2013, mind you. But literally they 3D print this stuff. Obviously, I think this can be taken too far, but there are absolutely certain things that this is a fantastic use case for. I'm glad to see improvements being made in this field for the medical field. So there you go, Ross. Okay, I'm nothing if not a benevolent reporter. Now, unfortunately, bank bosses in the UK do not have enough diapers to keep up with the amount of crap that's coming out of their buttholes due to the recent hacks in the UK. So if you've been watching the streams here for the last, say, 3-ish weeks, going on to 4, we've been covering some of the stuff that's happening in the UK. What happened in the UK is that several retailers got hit almost back to back to back, 3 days in a row, I believe. Started with, I think it was M&S, then, or maybe it was Harrods, either way, doesn't matter, and Co-op as well. And then it expanded into other retailers and even distributors, and then it just expanded even more and more and more and more. And, well, bank bosses are scared. Cyber attack threat keeps me awake at night, bank boss says. Ian Stewart said the HSBC banking group is spending hundreds of millions of pounds on its IT systems. The boss of one of the UK's biggest banks has said the threat of cyber attacks keeps me awake at night, as well it should. Ian Stewart said that cybersecurity was top of the agenda and dealing with IT vulnerabilities was an enormous expense for the sector as a whole. It worries me because we can be attacked and we are being attacked all the time. Stewart and other bank bosses have been speaking to the Commons Treasury Committee, which has been taking evidence on a range of issues affecting the industry, including how vulnerable it is to outages and cyber attacks. I'll save everybody a bit of time. Just fly me over to the UK, okay? I'll stand in front of the Commons Treasury Committee and I'll just summarize it really easily. You are extremely vulnerable in many, many ways, almost every way. In March, it emerged. Now we get into some details. 9 major banks and building societies operating in the UK accumulated at least 803 hours, the equivalent of 33 days of tech outages in the past 2 years. So, Co-op, Marks & Spencer are brought up. Lisa Fort of the cybersecurity company Red Goat told BBC News that Mr. Stewart had made an incredibly important point. No duh. Cyber attacks are increasing in both number and severity. And it costs a lot. So, yes, banks are absolutely concerned about this, as well they should be. At this point, there's almost not enough money that you could put on the problem. And I think the reason why I say that is because you don't even fully understand what the problem is. And we have neutered the ability for people who work in this industry to understand the level of, let's say, details that are involved in some of these cybersecurity issues. I'm telling you, you should hire me. I know all about it. Okay? Yes, implement a password policy and rotate your API keys, Gear Games. Yeah, 3D printed teeth is a future, MyTech. Yeah, good to see you, by the way, MyTech. So there you go. At least, you know what? I'm going to put a positive spin on this. At least there is awareness of this, and they're taking it seriously. They probably should take it more seriously, but I'm glad to see this. Now, the last 2 articles, and they are good. So if you've been hanging around and you've been waiting, then I present to you the meat and potatoes of this stream. Let me just pull this one up here. All right. Let me provide a little bit of context for a minute. Let me take a sip of coffee. How many times have we covered breaches, hacks, security incidents, that were initiated by non-secure S3 buckets. How many times do you think? I'm using this as an excuse to take a sip of my coffee here. Out of 55 episodes, how many episodes have we have included, hey, there's an insecure bucket, S3, Google Cloud, Azure, whatever, and as a result, there was a data breach? Out of 55. I only know of S3 buckets because of the show. Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, now that I've taken a sip of coffee. Finally, we're getting answers. Why do we constantly see Amazon security issues with S3 buckets as part of our data breaches? Because the AWS, Amazon Web Services default IAM roles found to enable lateral movement and cross-service exploitation. Dimitri on YouTube says we had it at least the day before yesterday when I watched it live. That's right. And finally, we have info. It's right here. Let's find out why these things are so insecure. Let me zoom in here as best as I can. Cybersecurity researchers have discovered risky default identity and access management roles impacting Amazon Web Services that could open the door for attackers to escalate privileges, manipulate other AWS services, and in some cases, even fully compromise AWS accounts. These roles, often created automatically or recommended during setup, grant overly broad permissions such as full S3 access. The default roles silently introduce attack paths that allow privilege escalation across cross-service access and even potential account compromise. Can we begin to see how this happens? Can we begin to see why I keep asking for the tech industry to do better? Why do I constantly read news articles where S3 buckets are accessible to the tune of sometimes terabytes of data because of stuff like this? And when we constantly make fun of the people who create these cloud storage buckets of information and we go, can't you get even default permissions right? No, they can't. Even Amazon themselves can't. This should be basic security stuff that people should know. Programmers, DevOps, sysadmins, etc. You should know some level of basic things. For example, never assume that the defaults are good enough in terms of security. That should be a basic thing. And if you don't know what the details are about a particular type of configuration, that's okay. Just assume it's wrong and go figure it out. The cloud security firm said it identified security issues and default roles created by AWS services like SageMaker, I've used that one before, Glue, EMR, and Lightsail, I've used that one before. A similar flaw has also been unearthed in a popular open source framework called Ray, which automatically creates a default role with Amazon S3 full access policy. So we have third-party packages, once again, leading back to why I keep harping on not relying on third-party packages, libraries, frameworks, paradigms, obfuscations to solve problems for you, because you make the assumption that things are tested and solved, and you have no idea if they actually are. And here's for just one more piece of evidence, proof that these third-party systems don't do what you think they do or what they say they do, and you should never trust them. We've leaned too much into default trusting these things. We don't even know how to ask the right questions about whether or not they're doing what they should be able to do. If someone can get access to this kind of information, then they can essentially just kind of hijack your entire infrastructure. And when they can hijack your entire infrastructure, it means that they can deploy things under the domains or infrastructures that people legitimately use, and the legitimate consumers can't tell the difference. They're all open for attack in all kinds of ways. Amazon S3 full access, I recognize this permission level because I've had to use it before for internal systems that talk like in a closed network, and they are right. You don't even need to guess the bucket names remotely. Once you have that Amazon S3 full access, you have access to everything. You can list all the S3 information out, and then Bob's your uncle. So this is a huge, serious issue. First of all, the fact that Amazon even allows for this to happen as a default thing, but also because we have third-party things like SageMaker or Ray or whatever automatically generating these things on top of that. And that's not the only place where it ends, because a lot of systems that run websites on these services will also have third-party packages that are not simply for infrastructure control. So like, for example, Ray, Glue here, SageMaker, where was the other one? CloudFormation? Yeah, CloudFormation. All of these are like template systems where you kind of, for example, think of like a JSON file, which is that you define the way that all of these things communicate together. Then you as a consumer, if you're a consumer watching right now, not a programmer, you go on website, you enter info ends up somewhere in the cloud that's run by the company that you have provided your info to. There are all kinds of third-party things that programmers and systems administrators and developer operations, people that put these pieces of the environment together use in order to auto-generate the infrastructure. And all of those third-party things, not just what's on this article, but also within the programming paradigms, also create roles and infrastructure and manage them and push information to them and so on and so forth. And they are all ripe for insecure practices. And we have completely absconded our responsibilities to these third-party systems, thinking surely they are thoroughly tested, surely they are secure, surely they are up to date. Who the hell is Shirley? I keep talking about her. I don't even know her. But unfortunately, the tech industry has been captured by this lazy, I don't know, status quo. Everything's great. It's never been better. Nothing's wrong with what we're doing. My feelings, though, my developer experience, though, all of this stupid crap, instead of actually thinking about what the hell you're doing and how these things logically impact you and your customers and your family members and so on. And I've covered this to such length on these streams, it seems like it's never going to end. So here we go. We have insight into what the hell is happening. Now, there is also a reference to Microsoft Azure, because AWS is not the only company that we have seen have insecure cloud storage. Microsoft Azure comes pre-installed. Like Azure storage here, it comes pre-installed on Microsoft Azure AI, this utility for Azure storage. And it allows an unprivileged user on a Linux machine with this Azure storage utility to escalate their privileges to root. So the stuff that Microsoft even provides as utilities to manage their cloud storage simply allows you to just escalate yourself to root. So Amazon is not the only victim here, if you want to look at it that way. You can Google search default password for a lot of things and just get in, yes. Yeah, thanks, Dimitri. Have a good night, man. Can you just get paid to be lazy? Apparently you can. Just go be a React developer. I just remembered that blob storage was wide open at some point. The dev didn't think it was a problem until I talked to him about it. Yeah. It's crazy. Imagine thinking blob storage isn't a problem. Like, this should be basic stuff. This should be basics. We have lost our way. It's no wonder that consumers are fed up with the stuff that we're producing. We can't even make logical arguments about why we're doing what we're doing anymore. It's all about our feelings. It's all about what feels good, what our intuition says about things. I can't even. All right. Last article. There's a reason that I went on that rant about absconding our responsibility to third parties, and it is in theme with the last article. Okay, now, this is like, it's like the chef's kiss end to this stream. I couldn't be happier and more depressed seeing this scientific study. Are we ready? I need to take another sip of coffee because I'm actually excited to show this one, even though it's very depressing. This is good. All right. Let me zoom in here. Hang on. Let me just check and make sure. Okay, here we go. Understanding and detecting peer dependency resolving loop in NPM ecosystem. Yes, from May 20th, 2025. So let's see what they have to say here. I'm going to read the abstract, and then I'm going to jump to the good stuff. I'm going to give you the hit you need. As the default package manager for Node.js, NPM has become one of the largest package management systems in the world. To facilitate dependency management for developers, or in other words, to abscond the responsibility of developers for actually caring about their code and putting in the required effort to write quality code, NPM supports a special type of dependency, peer dependency, whose installation and usage differ from regular dependencies. However, conflicts between peer dependencies can trap the NPM client into infinite loops, leading to resource exhaustion and system crashes. Yes, that's right. You heard correctly. Peer dependencies can actually cause system crashes, simply by nature of having NPM try to resolve peer dependencies. We name this problem peer spin, or as I like to call it, lazy ass. Although peer spin poses a severe risk to ecosystems, it was overlooked by previous studies, and its impacts have not been explored. To bridge this gap, this paper conducts the first in-depth study to understand and detect peer spin in the NPM ecosystem. First, by systematically analyzing the NPM dependency resolution, we identify the root cause of peer spin and characterized two peer dependency patterns to guide detection. Second, we propose a novel technique called node replacement conflict-based peer spin detection, or as I like to call it, anti-lazy ass abstraction, which leverages the state of the directory tree during dependency resolution to achieve accurate and efficient peer spin detection. Based on this technique, we developed a tool called Peer Checker, or Lazy Ass Checker, to detect lazy ass. Finally, we apply Lazy Ass Checker to the entire NPM ecosystem, which is, if I look over here, I believe it was right somewhere around here. How many is there? There was a number, the number of packages, I believe it, here we go. By October 2023, the NPM ecosystem had indexed over 2.5 million packages and over 36 million package versions. So it's obviously a lot more today. So of all the entire NPM ecosystem, they found that 5,662 packages totaling 72,968 versions suffer from lazy ass. Until now, we have selected 100 problematic packages to report and received 28 confirmations. We also open source all lazy ass analysis implementations, tools, and datasets to the public to help the community detect lazy ass issues and enhance the reliability of the NPM ecosystem. Now, at first, if you compare, let's even take the 2023 numbers, you might be going, well, Spiro, come on, brother. Come on, bro. Am I really going to catch strays from you because 5,662 packages out of 2.5 million suffer from lazy ass issues that might crash my system? Yeah, Ross, come on, bro. Right? Come on, bro. And, this is the question that I was asking myself when I was reading this. Well, don't worry. I got you. why don't we take a minute and let's go look. I'm gonna put it off the screen so I don't give it away while I scroll here. Why don't we go take a look at the top 10 NPM packages that suffer from lazy ass peer dependency crap. Let me just come down. It's a good study, by the way. They went really detailed into it. I would encourage you to look at it. All right. Are you guys ready? You guys ready to see the top 10 critical packages that cause lazy ass, which can crash your systems? Now, before I give this away, I just want a viewer on any one of the platforms who has watched me for any amount of time or knows anything that I'm about. Can you tell me which library or framework I point to as the most egregious and cancerous thing that has ever happened to the tech industry in recent years? Ross got it. He was ahead of the curve. Or at least he's hoping to be. Maybe he meant it as like that's what he wants to see. I like Svelte, but it's got to be Svelte. Does anyone? I just want to see if anybody knows which. Anybody else? Anyone? Otherwise, I'm just not going to switch the screen. You guys are just not going to know. Then you just have to go read the paper yourself. Good luck. I know you guys don't read. You rely on me to read, which gives me so much power. The power that I have over you. I read the paper. Dimitri on YouTube, you get it. You get whatever prize there is. I give you a prize. React. Better than Bromwich. I don't know about that, but all right. Dimitri got it. It's React. Now, since Dimitri saved all of you, top 10 critical packages that caused peer spin. I'm just going to leave this there. Feels good, boys. Feels good to be so right all the time. It tastes... Ross asks, how's the coffee? It tastes delicious. It's probably one of the best coffees I've had in months. It's sweet. It's just the right amount of sweet and bitter. It's really good today, bros. The coffee is just fantastic right now. Hey, I just want to see it from chat. Can somebody tell me what the top one there is? I just want to know what the top number one package that suffers from peer spin, which can crash your system, by the way. Which one is that again? I just want to hear it from chat while I sip on my beautiful coffee. Huh? Oh, damn, that's delicious coffee. I don't know why. It's just, it's no different than I make it every other day. But for some reason, right now, this coffee's just amazing. It's just great. As a matter of fact, I gotta have another sip. It's incredible. Not made with React. I think that's the key. My coffee machine didn't require AI or React to create this coffee. So React, Angular Core, ESLint plugin flow type, TypeScript, RxJS, Webpack, React DOM, ESLint, Angular/compiler, and GraphQL. I think this is a fantastic place to end this stream. At the top. You always want to leave when you're at the top, right? Now, if you're someone who's watching, you don't know what any of this means. Imagine that you have a construction crew and everybody is focused on a particular skill, but you don't actually have oversight over any of them. They come in and they say, I know how to frame. I know how to run electrical wires. I know how to put up windows. And I mean, like, literally, that's literally all you hear from them. I know how to do this. They're making a claim that they know how to do a thing. I want X number of dollars. You give it to them, and then you let them go. There's no oversight, nothing. You just let them build the house. That is essentially what's happening here. And then you mix in a bunch of different construction workers in the same field who all have a different level of knowledge about that field, and they're all clashing with each other, and it becomes this big spider web. And the only thing that you do as the person who's trying to get this house built and pull all these people together, you're not asking questions about whether they're doing the right things or not. You have no knowledge as to whether or not they're doing it correctly. You have no idea why they're fighting about different ways to accomplish the same thing. You don't even care about that. All you care about is that it gets done. You just pull them in, and then you build a house, semblance of a house, good enough. Just ship it, bro. Just get the house out. And then you invite the homeowners in with their kids, and their grandparents and their cousins, right? And their brothers and sisters and the entire family, and everybody's, innocent and everything. And then the house collapses and they're all 404'd. That's the tech industry right now. So if you're a consumer watching this, that's what's happening in the tech industry right now. Can I link it? I sure can. I sure can link it. Here, Ross. It's for you, buddy. You want to read it? Sounds like American Contractors, yeah. Demetra says, if React is such trash, then is it a good idea to study React for front end? If not, what are we supposed to do if almost all front end is made by React? So there's two answers, and it depends on your goal. If you're looking to get a job, you're going to need to know React. React is a ubiquitous thing across the industry. So if you want to get hired and you want to make money, you need to learn React. If you actually want to write good stuff that's of quality, forget about React. It sucks. It's completely terrible. It should have never existed. React and React-like things should never have come into existence. That would be like one of the few cases for a form of abortion that I would personally stand behind. Okay? Because holy crap, those were terrible ideas. So the problem is that, unfortunately, it exists right now. What I would argue is that if you're going to learn React to get a job, then at least here, like real talk, right? I'm being a bit tongue-in-cheek and making jokes to be funny and trying to be entertaining. But in reality, okay, at the very least, if you're going to learn React to get a job, I respect that. Okay, because I understand that people need to pay bills. There's, I don't think there's anything morally wrong with you. I'm not talking necessarily about the people who use it. What I'm asking from the people who use these things is to be informed of the arguments why React might be a bad thing and why it might be a good thing. I want you to be more aware of value judging why you're using React in the first place. And you can come to the conclusion that, yes, React fits for this. Hey, that's great. If you're capable of value judging that, that's way better of a position to be in than where we are right now. So even if you are not interested in React as the solution to things that you need to do in the industry, but you have to do it because of jobs, at least be aware of the information. At least do that. So that way, if you do get a job working with React, you can go to your colleagues or your managers or executives or whoever you're talking to, or other people online or whatever, and you can say like, hey, look, I use React at work, or we're using it here, and I just don't think that it fits because of XYZ reasons. And you can make some logical arguments, you can point to some data, you can point to some articles, you can point to things like I just showed, whatever it is, right? That is way better of a position to be in, even if you have to accept the fact that you cannot escape React. So like real talk, jokes aside and all that, that's what I would say. Ghost on Twitch says peer spin issues are inherently complex to identify and understand. It is caused by a logical flaw in the dependency resolution algorithm associated with a directory tree state, which is in the PDF. That's right. So there's a major logical flaw in NPM, but everyone's using that. Yes. And package managers of all kind all basically borrow the same premise as NPM, and they all suffer from this. As far as I'm aware, every single package manager suffers from this fate, at least the ones that exist right now. There might be one that I may have heard of in passing on X somewhere that doesn't do this in the same way, but yes, there's a huge flaw in the way that this works, and everybody just goes along with it. Why? Because it's the easy button. That's exactly what I argue against. This is the easy button where everybody who involved in that area gets to go, okay, perfect. Then what we do is we import a package that says that it does this, that, or the other. It's fully tested, fully vetted. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, and away we go. And so you just abscond your responsibilities. You just hand over your responsibilities to someone else. That's why. Yeah, Sergeant Pepper, I think you and I are saying the same thing. It's just that maybe you were typing that out as I was making the jokes, which are a bit more extreme for the jokes. React has... Okay, so Sergeant, I'm going to push back on you just a little bit. React does have some use cases. I would argue that React is not necessary for any use case. You do not actually need React for any use case that React currently fits in. Everything that we could do with React and all of these other frameworks, we could have done without. Even though you can make a case for, well, in the current world, since we have React and we have these use cases, do the two fit? Yes. Yeah, sure. Yeah. I wish people would do the same thing with languages like C and older versions of C++. Like, I'm not sure what you mean, Unholy Diver. Like, understand why? Is that what, like, have an understanding of why you would use them and when you wouldn't? I'm not sure what you mean. Publish the article. I want to read and be aware of its problems, even if I have to study it for job security. Sure. So let me go on. Hopefully that shows up for you on YouTube, Dimitra. If it doesn't, let me know. And what I'll do is I'll flip back to the study, and at the very least, you can look up the title, and you should be able to find it on ARXIV. We should just have package managers like Odin does. Yes, I think at least in the current world we live in the current landscape in tech, the way that Odin does it, I think is pretty much spot on. That's what we need right now. Yeah, it opened 12 pages. Perfect. Okay. There you go, Dimitra. Yeah. I think Odin has it nailed right now because they saw the problem. So Unholy says the message was for when you said you can use it to get a job, but to understand the drawbacks. Yeah, no, yeah. That's right. Yeah, Unholy, you're right. Absolutely. This actually goes kind of against some of the things that I would want to promote people using. So I want more people to learn C. And you can make this argument against C as well. And I would say, yes, fair. Why would you use C? When would you use it? How should you use it? Be educated on that. Go figure that out. Why does it exist in the first place? I think from the very, very beginning, at least being able to understand why these things exist and how to use them and their drawbacks and all of that, that would be way better, even if the end result is that they still exist and still get used, even if I personally hate the fact that they exist, right? But secretly, just a little secret between us, if more people understood why React existed, then I think more people would get behind me in essentially taking React out back behind the woodshed and putting it out of its misery. So ultimately, no matter which way we go, I win. React gets 404'd. But just to start with, all right? But yeah, we don't need React. If you were to create your own version of web components for client server, how close do you think it would be to React? I wouldn't actually compare like web components with client server to React, the paradigms are so different, and the React paradigm is generally so unnecessary that I wouldn't even compare them. It would be like apples and oranges comparison. I think you can accomplish the same goals, which is like your user experience and stuff. You could scale back on a few fancy features that like customers generally just like don't even really care about or like, and still get the same usefulness out of a website. Present more information at a much smaller payload, much lower bandwidth. It would still feel good to use, etc. But without the React paradigm at all. Yeah, knowing the cost of abstractions is the key. That's the starting point. How do we live in an industry right now where people can even value judge the cost of an abstraction? I don't think we do. And that would be the starting point. Can you value judge it? You know what, Sergeant? You're this close to getting timed out, Sergeant. All right, you're this close. You would use C when you want to showcase your memory management skill issues, cause endless CVEs, and refuse to use a superior language like Rust. Sergeant's asking for it. I don't know. I think he's asking for a timeout. Can React be saved somehow since it's staying and unlikely to be replaced in 1 to 2 years? No, it can't be saved. No, zero shot it can be saved. That's what Dimitri on YouTube asks. It cannot be saved. I just mean like the way you break everything into TS function components, mixing client with server rendering. So maybe that's all React should have been. Not you, but the industry. I see. Yeah. Yeah. If React had scaled back and set a goal to be like, once we've accomplished these features, we're considering ourselves done. Even that would be better. In my opinion, I think that would be better. But like I said, look, ultimately the starting point has to be, do we have people who understand why on earth it exists, how to use it, its drawbacks, alternatives even? It not just within the scope of like this thing, does it have drawbacks? Because if you live in React land and that's all you ask these questions in, of course you're going to find reasons why it should exist. But how about outside of that? Right? And if you can ask outside of that, then you can do like an internal critique and go, okay, well, maybe React isn't the right answer here. That has to be the starting point. We don't even have that. I reduce the package dependencies as much as possible. Yeah, that's good. See, this is the thing. People like Gare Games, like Ross, for example, I know like Dimitri, and there's somebody else I believe on YouTube. I don't think he's here right now, but sometimes he pops on. This is the thing that I want people to take away from the stream as I'm ending it now. Might as well just call it here. This has been a good stream. I want people to understand that the reason why I do this on a daily basis, the reason why I've been doing the Enlightened programming streams, the reason why I'm building this stupid little video game and I interview people like I'm going to tomorrow, is because I want you guys to understand that you have at least some level of individual ability to take these arguments and kind of shape them into something that you can use at your job, talk about with colleagues at your job, to talk about with people on social media, to have arguments or debates about, to be far more informed about these things. That's what I'm hoping that you take away from this, is that what it has to come down to is that I have to persuade individuals. And if I persuade enough individuals, then there's a movement that can happen where these ideas can kind of spread beyond me just sitting here on my soapbox and saying whatever I'm saying. That's how we made change, by the way, on many other things in this industry. We moved forward certain standards like in the browser and with programming languages and all of that, even with Rust, you could say, because a bunch of individuals thought, I don't like the way this works. Let's try and figure out something better. But you have to persuade people that there's a problem first, and then you have to persuade them that there's a solution. And fortunately for us, both exist here. And that's what I hope you all take away from this. That it's not an insurmountable thing to make a change here. I want you to take this information and figure out a way to talk about it and make a change in your little microcosm of the world. It's really, really important. And it's completely doable. Completely doable. Yeah, it'd be nice to force people to use a minimum amount of deps. Yes. And I have an article about Rust dependencies. There's an opinion article about how Rust dependencies are crazy for simple applications. And but this is not just, Rust alone. All package management systems suffer from this. And for the most part, I don't know, maybe they shouldn't exist either. I'm not really sure. But at the very least, they shouldn't be used as much as they are. Yeah, don't pick a tool and work backwards. That's right, Care Games. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so I hope this was informative and somewhat lighthearted a bit and fun. I hope I made decent jokes. I don't know. I don't make very good jokes all the time. Okay, I'm sorry. But yeah, I hope this was interesting and whatnot. And I'm going to be back on Monday for another Daily Tech News stream. If you want to watch another one of these, it'll be episode 56 on Monday. Tomorrow, about an hour earlier than whatever time it is for you right now, I'm going to start maybe a little bit earlier than that, just to kind of let people roll in, and I'll try and make some stupid jokes, and you guys can laugh at me for being an idiot. So I'll start a little bit earlier, then we'll have Prosium on. Maybe we'll get him on a Discord call. I don't know. I have to figure that out. We'll interview Prosium. He's got some really good stuff to say. You guys are going to be blown away by his experience and background. I certainly am. I'm super excited to have that interview. And I'm really grateful to Prosium for agreeing to do it. And then the day after, I'm going to nail it down. Once I have the interview with the person I'm talking to for the day after on Sunday, then I will post that as well. With the time, and we're gonna dig in. So Sunday will be like a Rust thing if that pans out, which I think it'll pan out. So Sergeant Pepper, if you want to watch that, it'll be interesting. And then tomorrow we'll just kind of be like a more into the video game industry stuff. It'll be good. Okay, I don't want to give too much away. It'll be good. I promise. It'll be good. And I'll try and sneak in some video game coding time. I think tomorrow after Prosium's interview, we'll do a little bit of a chill stream. I'll work on the video game. I need to work on the victory conditions on the video game. Okay, so there's lots of content coming in. Listen, guys, I really appreciate all the support. I really do. All the views, the likes, the subscribes. For some reason, some stuff that I've done on TikTok has taken off, and I'm getting like 30,000 views on one of my videos. It's blowing up like crazy. So if there's anybody watching who's like recently come in the last 24 hours from that, I appreciate it. I don't ask for financial support. If you want to give me financial support, I'm happy to take it. I have a tip thing with Streamlabs at the end of the stream, beginning and end of the stream, if you want to do that. I'm trying to figure out what the pricing is on some of these subscriptions, because a lot of them don't have, look for scientific journals, a lot of them don't have the subscription prices unless you go contact them. And what I'd like to do is put up like a goal or something so that I can pay for the monthly thing with any amount of money you guys are willing to part with. I don't have that up right now, but even if you, no matter what you send me, I'm going to try and filter that into paying for these articles instead of trying to find them, third tertiary, right? Because hopefully the information's worth it for you. Besides the financial, the only thing that I do want you guys to do, I am asking you, like, subscribe, repost, all of that stuff. I hate the algorithms. I don't think they're good for society, but it's the only way for me to get this message out there. It's the only way for me to do it. And it's working. My reach is expanding. No. It's not my reach, it's our reach, because I know that you guys agree with a lot of what I'm saying. Not everything, but a lot of what I'm saying, with the general message. And our reach, our ability to persuade more people that we need this, is spreading because you guys engage. Thank you for the engagement. Please keep it up. I do have a Discord link. It's on the description of all of my YouTube videos. If you go on my YouTube channel and you pick any video and you look at the description, it's there. You can bang Discord on the YouTube chat and the Twitch chat to get there. So you can join my Discord and you can chat with me. You can send me articles to review, etc. And I'll do my best. Thank you guys for all the support. I really hope it's worth it. I do put in a lot of time into it, but I know I'm not perfect at it, but hopefully it's still worth it for you. So I will see you tomorrow for the interview, and then I'll see you Sunday, and then I'll see you Monday. If you guys haven't seen enough of me, too bad, you're getting more, all right? Too bad, you're getting more. All right, stay safe out there. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, please stay safe. It's dangerous out there. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, all right? Peace. Now, I gotta. I've forgotten that the statistics are really clear. I forgot about one scientific paper. Let me just pull it up off camera here. You guys can watch the ending screen, okay? I'm going to pull up the scientific paper, and the scientific paper is titled "Why Everyone in Chat Absolutely Sucks." All of you suck. 100% suck rate, okay? Everybody sucks. All metrics, all mathematical equations point to all of you sucking. You all suck. Every single one of you sucks. The science is clear. The consensus is clear. The statistics are clear. Everything's clear.